I'm saying, when we all die, when we all pass on to the grave, some people will have their YouTube channel, they will have their with conference of legitimacy from the system. I'm a YouTuber, I have my channel, here's my catalog, and some people have their actions. They stood up for what was right.
This was a long time coming. We have Kanye, Neon, and Sneako and Nick Fuentes all meeting up together because they are going to be streaming the release of Donda 2 from Kanye West. Now, this moment here, as many different clips are going to be hitting social media, is Sneako and Nick Fuentes getting into a confrontation with each other with the fall of what was supposed to be their joint show called Controlled Chaos, which was also going to feature Myron Gaines and Elijah Schaffer. Now, ultimately, in the end, I believe there are still plans for the show to move forward, although they are seemingly trying to reconfigure or remake the idea of what it was originally. But this beef actually started when Sneako had actually pulled out of the project, largely with belief from many of the Nick Fuentes crowd that Sneako was selling out, that he was too terrified that content moving forward would basically kind of lock him out of mainstream YouTubing, which I believe you can even get in this argument here between them. But here is the rest of the clip.
YouTube is the Matrix, dude. Your baby is the Matrix. That's how the Matrix controls you.
Regardless of what it's called, I wanted to see my catalog again. Even if I never posted on there, having that back meant a lot to me. Whatever you want to call it, and you said yourself the show was a waste. So then why stand on this high ground about this show that I bailed on when it benefits nobody? You didn't want to do it, and we all knew it was going to start.
What you just said about your YouTube being your baby, I mean, that's just everything in there right there.
That's my discography. That's everything there.
You have the video.
That's my life story. Yeah, but it's not the same. I created them for YouTube, having the comment section there.
You're just attached to this, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be on YouTube. It's like more than you want the integrity of being free.
No, I just want my YouTube channel back. I want to be able to. That was like a painting. Like everything I did on there, I curated for that channel. Oh. Maybe you don't understand it. You don't get it. But
it's not that deep.
It's not that. I mean, it's not really yours to say. It's something that I created. It's something that I did, and
well, at the end of your life, you have your YouTube channel. There you go.
What do you mean?
I'm saying, when we all die, when we all pass on to the grave, some people will have their YouTube channel, they will have their with conference of legitimacy from the system. I'm a YouTuber, I have my channel, here's my catalog, and some people have their actions. They stood up for what was right. They told the truth when it was different.
We're agreeing that show was wrong. We're agreeing that show was not the right thing to do.
But you pulled out because it would have affected your career. No, just like how when I got there,
because it was gone. There was no point.
That's not why you backed out. That's not why you unfollowed me on Twitter. That's not why when I got here, the first thing you said was, there goes me getting my YouTube channel back. Because that's always in your head.
Because I've been trying very hard to get it back,
yeah. What is that? When you say you're trying to get it back, what does that mean exactly? How do you try to get your YouTube channel back? You moderate what you say so they'll approve you?
I don't moderate it. I went to the YouTube headquarters. I'm trying to make the right moves.
What does that mean, make the right moves?
By my brand and my community love speech. People think that I'm a hateful person, and now I've been focusing on the right things and saying the right things.
And saying
and not being a hateful person.
You're streaming with Jewish rabbis and saying, oh, Jewish people aren't the problem, it's Zionists, it's this. I mean, you yourself said you don't call them Jews, you call them Zionists because it sounds better.
So what do you want me to say Jews are the problem? That's the overall sum of everything I do.
When you say you're doing the work to get your YouTube channel back, we all know that means you're bending over backwards to appease YouTube so they will give it to you. And I'm saying fuck YouTube.
The first thing I would like to say is there are actually other longer versions of this confrontation happening, although I found most of those videos to be a little hard to listen to. The only reason I even think this one was beneficial was because it was captioned by, I believe, Charging or Red Pill Saiyan on X, so props to them for doing that. But I did have kind of three broad takeaways just from this small interaction alone, and here they are. The first point would be the personal sentiment that Sneako feels towards his YouTube channel, as he calls it, his discography. Forgive me for saying that wrong. But I actually kind of understand where Sneako's coming from on this. Now, YouTube in particular, one of its main features that many people really don't understand that they're getting for free is it is actually a large hard drive, essentially. You can basically post, I think there are some kind of limits for how much you can upload in a day, but basically, YouTube will keep all of the videos I upload for eternity, as long as I don't do anything that risks my channel, essentially, or deem it to be pulled off of there. So I do understand him on that aspect as well. For someone who's done this for a little while, that there are many, many videos in my catalog that if I were to lose them from YouTube overnight, I wouldn't have them anymore. Like, I don't have raw backups for a lot of these things, largely due to the fact of not wanting to pay for all of this extra space or keep all these old videos that didn't even do that well somewhere, hiding in a hard drive. And I do understand that kind of personal attachment that you develop to that, especially for someone like Sneako who's done it for such a long time. The second point, I think, is I feel that there is a bit of bad blood from Nick towards Sneako, and I think a good bit of it can be summed up by the fact that Sneako is somebody who has been given, he's been thrown a life raft, if you will. And I think on that end, Nick Fuentes is somebody who will, in this lifetime, never be allowed back on YouTube. And I think when he sees other creators who kind of dabble in his arena and then ultimately kind of back out, he feels a type of way, which is like he would never be allowed to be back on YouTube, but he can watch as others can kind of dance and fiddle and maintain their status on YouTube while also operating under and with the political talk of which that he finds his forte. And I can kind of see that, right? You have been deemed, your name brand is too much. You will always forever be known as the person who is untouchable. I do think that would come with some bad blood. At least in my opinion, it's hard to actually speculate truly how he feels about that on a deeper side of things. But I think there is a sentiment there where he wishes that Sneako would hold those shared values of him, which is like, no, man, we're getting banned off these platforms because what we're doing, like, we believe in what we do and we believe in the integrity of these things, and we don't care who doesn't want us to speak. We're going to keep speaking. And I think when he sees someone pull back, and maybe it wasn't for that specific reason, maybe it wasn't, Sneako didn't pull out, maybe it was personal sentiment, but I think Nick at least takes that, maybe on a personal level, and he views that as like, I thought you were my guy, I thought you were riding with me. Maybe it's not that deep, but I at least kind of pick up on some level of those notes there. The third point would be the right moves, as Sneako says, right? And Nick Fuentes actually challenges him on this, which is, what do you mean by that, right? You mean you're going to moderate yourself? You're going to censor yourself, actively make sure that you put the duct tape, over your mouth, figuratively? And I think there is a bit of truth to that. I think back with Steven Crowder and his beef with the Daily Wire over the contract issues, which was basically Steven Crowder, someone who pushes the boundaries, although not nearly as much as somebody like Nick Fuentes does. He saw in the contract negotiations, or at least the contract that he was given, as basically an enslavement to the big tech oligarchs, as a way that he was supposed to operate under the rules of big tech, under the rules of YouTube, under the censorship regime, which he denied, he rejected. And I think for good reason, especially how ironic is that the flagship conservative program that is constantly whinging and going on, I mean, for good reason, about the lack of free speech and the way that platforms kind of abuse their ability to eliminate dissenters in the speech of which they don't like, that you would then also ask me to obey these rules. Like, isn't our mission to get rid of these things? In the same way, I kind of view that as well, where I think that is probably what Sneako is attempting to do, is trying to backpedal. Even some of his recent videos he's done is basically very basic YouTuber vlogging in New York City. I mean, not to say like, not to downplay it. I think he does make good content, and I like have a true dog in this fight. But I do see that, and I find it a little bit even amongst myself, doing it on my own personal channel as well as doing it on the mainstream live stream that we operate together, me and World. I find it actually goes against my very own principles about being fearless and saying exactly what I believe, no matter what. It's a tough thing to navigate. And again, I have no dog in this fight. I'm more so curious what you guys think and what your takeaways were from this. I did find it that Nick was a little personal about this, although I think if you did plan on doing some kind of show, even if you disagreed about the operation of such and how it should be done, pulling out like that, I think the way that Sneako did and with the unfollowing and like the not communicating, I think spoke more to just instead of just discontent with the show, I think it spoke more to, in that moment, I think Sneako decided that he was no longer wanting to do the content and he would have rather kept his YouTube channel. I don't know if that means he doesn't have integrity, but I at least think it means that he was unwilling to embark on the same mission that Nick and Myron Gaines and Elijah Schaffer were going to. And maybe that just means they saw things differently. But let me know what you think. I'm curious what the reactions to this will be. And I appreciate it if you made it this far. Definitely leave a like. It helps my channel out quite a bit. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.